Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DiPaola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome to another edition. It's Florida Talk Real Estate, and we got you for the next 2 hours of infotainment. Thanks for being there. If you're tuning in on the old terrestrial radio, 92.1, 101.7, we appreciate you very much. You can also access the free download, your iHeartRadio app. If you do that, that's a free stream. And we're worldwide. Take us anywhere, any corner of the world. Give it a try. Thanks for being there. Of course, we live stream as well. There are cameras set up in studio for a reason. Lights everywhere. Why? Well, we have beautiful faces to be captured. And you can join us live stream on Facebook, Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook, on YouTube as well. That's Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, home of a ton of informational chunk videos, plus our live stream on a Saturday. If you're with us out the gates, thank you very much. If you're not, you can join later. Or, of course, even in the coming days, go revisit and experience again and again and again. Of course, you're always welcome to experience it live. If you would like to be a part of the program interactively, join the conversation at 877-927-6969. The first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire. There's Jimothy, my brother from another mother. What up, dude?
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen. How we doing today? Happy Saturday.
Man, I love the emphasis on day, too, because that's what's up.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, dude.
Yeah. Good to see you as well, Johnny.
Always a pleasure. And your energy is very infectious, as is many other things that you're passing along to.
Oh, well,
Yes.
that's what I try to do.
You're a sharer.
To as many people as I can.
A sharer at the core is what you are. Always a pleasure, dude. Johnny C., that's me, your old buddy, your pal. Let's get your very important people on a Saturday, our starting lineup. Like Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Hey, Mike.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. I don't think I can match Jimmy's energy.
It's not a competition.
Oh, okay.
No. So everybody has their roles, truly.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've always been considered like the emotional cue.
Okay.
Yeah, Jimothy is the energy.
Oh,
yeah.
So what's the difference? You're like the pulse.
Yeah, I'm like the pulse,
and he's like the peak.
Yeah, and he's the driver. That's right.
He's the adrenaline.
He's the engine.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and you're the emphasis on you is you lift the IQ.
Oh,
and the beauty part.
Mostly the smart one.
Yeah.
And
beauty and
very
the brain.
That's it.
Love that.
Yeah, it's not pinky in the brain. It's
I'm sure I agree with it.
Oh, you don't have to agree.
Yeah. I mean, one of those two is fine.
Well, you choose.
Okay, beautiful.
You choose which one you prefer. Always good to see you. And nice to have AJ Holman with us in studio as well. He's with experienceappraisers.com and sitting here in the studio. Good to see you, my friend.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Always a pleasure to have you in studio. Thanks for, I wasn't expecting you today. I walked in, I'm like, AJ. But I didn't get the heads up, so.
Well, I like to sneak up on you.
Oh, nice.
Oh, well.
I didn't know either, John.
Oh, okay. So,
Yeah.
All right. Well,
AJ surprised.
I like those kind of days, though. You know what I mean? You walk in not knowing what's going on, and you're like, oh, look at this little treat. Always dependable, though. There's an expectation anytime I walk in on a Saturday. I'm going to see my fearless leader here. 14 years now, I've told you, he runs a top-producing Keller Williams team. It's the Florida Home Pros team. Keller Williams Innovations. This is Jimmy D. Jim DiPaola, how you be?
Hey, Johnny, you made me laugh because you said, I like days where you get a little surprised. I'm like, well, then you would love my life. Like every day is full of
Get a big one, too.
Yeah. Ross isn't here this week because he's not feeling well, so feel better, Ross. I hope he's doing okay.
I mean, who needs Ross when we got AJ?
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you want to talk about insurance. I mean.
Oh.
Well, yeah, because
that's
I'm not going to be any help at all.
I'm sure you have some ideas, though.
Well,
Sure.
Yeah. You didn't know this, but when you're subbing for Ross, you actually have to pretend to be
you have to be Ross. You
Yeah.
have to call him Hot AJ.
Yeah.
Hot AJ.
Yeah.
Hot AJ.
I talked to there was a person who called me. Shout out to Fred. Owns a swimming pool company. I want to get into it on the show, but Fred, I helped them sell a house, and then I helped Fred buy a house downtown Lake Worth.
Shout out, Fred.
Had a customer who bought a house in Singer Island and has some very serious questions about the reconstruction of it. So Fred was like, you know what? You got to call this guy from the radio show, Jim. So I knew a little bit about it. Was about the 50% FEMA rule.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I knew a little bit about it, but not enough. And there's a regulation out there that if you're in a flood zone, a special flood zone area, and you're renovating your house a certain amount,
Mm-hmm.
that you have to elevate the house for new flood zone requirements. Remember down in the Keys, Mike, when they had those lawsuits down there? Johnny, remember all that?
Oh, yeah.
So when they were rebuilding, they had to rebuild it on stilts. Essentially.
Yeah, and we met one lady that Paul Krasker actually helped out very much, where she had a 1950 house. We went down to look at it, and it was more than 50% damage, and the insurance companies didn't want to back. The flood insurance company didn't want to back what they had to do. Paul got it all resolved somehow. It took 18 months or something.
The flood zone rule, as I understand it, is if you're doing a renovation, you can only do, I want to say 50, it's not even 50%, but a percentage of the current depreciated structural value of just the house.
So I'm kind of got off track on this because we're going to talk about when Ross comes back. But the point I was trying to make, and you're right, AJ, about that. But the point I was trying to make on this one is I mentioned to the woman that Ross's nickname was called Hot Ross.
Oh,
she glommed onto that right away. She's like, oh, maybe I need to meet Hot Ross in person. She goes, is he really? And we would talk a little bit. And she's like, is he really hot?
Where do I have to go? Juno Beach?
So anyway, I was laughing pretty hard.
Yeah, and she's in her head. She's like, I've met guys that were 500 pounds. They called tiny. Is he really hot?
So anyway, I thought that was so funny, and Ross hates it, so that's what makes the joke even better because he's so uncomfortable about it.
I mean, he's got people showing up to his office in various stages of costume, I would say, right? He's like, wait a second, you're here to sign documents? Yes.
It's so funny. And we put out a video reel or a YouTube short or something out there recently where we called him Hot Ross on it. He saw it. He was like, oh my God.
Stop.
So yeah. So I got to back off a little bit, but I can't help it. It's much fun.
Well, you can't control Jimothy and the buttons he pushes. I mean, that's the one thing you can always be like, I can't control what he does.
Hot Ross.
See, I can't even stop him.
And if he wants to get mad at anybody, he could get mad at Paul Krasker from the law office of Paul Krasker, KraskerLaw.com, because he started it. So Paul started the whole thing.
Yeah.
So.
And he's a lawyer, so good luck.
Yep. Have fun with that, Ross. You can't sue for defamation.
Copyright.
Imagine if you sued for defamation because somebody's calling you hot.
Yeah.
I bet you
That's a tough one.
I bet you there's an angle on there.
Yeah.
I really do.
You'd have to show damages.
Well, you'd have to show some effects, and mentally it might be affecting.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mental
anguish.
Yeah, mental
High anxiety.
anguish.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah. Now there's an expectation.
We got
Everybody
a lot.
he meets.
He does not like to be objectified like that.
No. Do any of us besides Jimothy?
Somebody mentioned his handlebar mustache in the comments last week, I think.
Who's
Really?
handlebar? Oh, did they?
Because I grew it back.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
back.
They said they like it better. I saw that.
That's
Hey,
traditional.
I feel better. I
It's-
feel normal now.
It's
That
traditional,
was a
Jimothy.
year and a half of like, something just isn't right.
We're going to talk about, we're going to do a little bit of an in-depth dive on the Florida property tax elimination stuff. We didn't get to all of it last week.
Okay.
Or much of it.
I know we didn't get to any of it. Come on, I'm trying to be
Is that what you meant to say? We didn't get to any of it last week?
Yeah. I
Sorry.
said we were going to do it, and I didn't. I didn't say what show we were going to do it on.
Good
It's
point.
like, hey, I'm going to finish on Tuesday. I just didn't tell you what Tuesday.
Actually, it probably doesn't matter because it seems to change every week.
Yeah,
True.
it does. So we're going to give an update as to what's going on with that this week. Of course, we have big news in interest rates. We hit a milestone,
Nice.
kind of.
We kind of predicted it.
Yep, we kind of predicted it. But for this segment, what I want to do is I want to talk about a new regulation that goes into effect tomorrow. All the investors out there and cash buyers, you better watch out because Big Brother's coming. Now, that's the way investors will look at this. But, we are in a K economy. So the regulars, slobs like us, those people are going to be like, good, there's some kind of oversight of what's going on. But this is what's happening, whichever side of the fence you're on, this is what's happening. The Department of Treasury is finally implementing the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which is called FinCEN.
Ooh.
And what happens here is anybody buying cash or buying a property through like a trust or an LLC where they're trying not to have their name connected to the purchase and they're buying cash, or they're using like what's called a hard money loan, like a non-traditional. How did they describe it, Mike? Do you know? I know I didn't talk to you about this before, but there's a name for certain types of loans that aren't traditional loans, non-regulated lenders. So that would be like hard money, right? Like a hard money lender is a private person that will lend you money. Hey,
no licensing requirements.
No licensing. I just got a lot of money. Mike wants to borrow it. I say, hey, I'll give you $100,000 at 12% interest only loan, and I'm giving the money directly to Mike. We write up a mortgage, so I'm still, in this case, if it's property involved, I still am the lender, but I am not regulated by any federal government or anything because it's my money going directly to Mike.
Right.
So those kind of things, that or cash purchases that are not in your name, you're going to have to fill out a form that's going to go to the federal government. You're going to have to give the individual beneficial owners. You have to give Social Security numbers, addresses of where the people live, and more information. So you can't just buy a property calling it 123 Main Street LLC, and it's recorded that way, and you have a registered agent, but nobody really knows who owns that LLC. You just know an LLC owns it. Now you have to say, the LLC is owned by me, right? In this case, if I'm lending it to Mike, and here's my address, and here's my Social Security number. And this is all to prevent fraud, is what they're concerning.
Prevent money laundering.
Yeah, and money laundering.
Is that going to be public record, or is that just for?
Good question, and good. I have an answer for you. According to this article, no, it's supposed to not be held public. It's only going to be held by the federal government. So that's what I'm saying. Welcome to Big Brother. Big Brother got your information one way or the other.
Well, but so you can go on and see who owns what properties.
Yeah, but they do LLCs, so that's what he's saying, to shield the ownership.
Right, but if you wipe away the LLC and the shield, why wouldn't it then become public information? I mean, it just
they're not wiping
like
it away though. So you're still filing. You're still going to do the same deed process and everything. They've just added a layer of reporting to a separate entity that's an enforcement entity.
Right. So they don't want it public, but they want to make sure they know.
Right.
As you noted, Big Brother is like, hey, we're going to make sure we're in every step.
We're watching over you to make sure. Now, there was a place called down in Miami. There was a place in it's called Sunny Isles, and I had ridden. I think it was Sunny Isles. And I had saw a PBS documentary talking about all this money laundering they think happened in the construction boom down there with the condos bursting 20 years ago. And a lot of supposedly Eastern Europeans came over and just bought tons of those condos cash and never sold them and never moved into them. And they're just sitting there vacant for many, 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 many years. And they believe all that was like Eastern European, Russian and Ukrainian and whoever, God knows,
whoever it was at the time committing the war crimes,
or coming over there. Exactly.
At the time,
coming over and parking their money in U.S. real estate, which is very safe overall.
It's still happening. I
mean,
and
it's
really,
it's just different people now.
Yeah, exactly.
And drug dealers, that was another thing.
You can watch it happen on the news. They're like, hey, this warehouse was just bought for this purpose. You're like, oh, how much did they pay for that? Oh, it's like 10 times the value.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wonder what's happening.
I wonder what's going on with that.
Oh, that's weird.
And then they think that this is going to affect about 25% of the transactions across the country. So 1 in 4 are cash or using non-regulated lenders and use LLCs.
Or just take title in an LLC.
Or take title.
That's probably like where that 25%.
Yeah, that's where a lot of it is. I see a lot of investors that name the property 123 Main Street LLC, whatever the address is of the property.
Very common.
And that's going to be super easy for them. So what? They've got to submit. So what?
Well, this is what the so what is. The reason why you do the LLC, at least when I was taught when I was an investor and I used to flip homes, I used to do the same thing. Every time I bought a property, I'd have one LLC for each property.
Right.
And because I didn't want to have them all collectively under one LLC, because if you got sued and you lost, for whatever reason on anything, they can go after all the properties in the LLC. So you wanted to compartmentalize them. So you had one LLC for each one.
Makes sense.
The other thing, the reason why you did that is you didn't want people to easily sue you. So the LLC was a shield to make it very difficult for people to find out you personally to come after your personal losses. But in Florida, it's going to be more. This is going to be more used than the rest of the country because last month we'll talk a little bit about this if we get to it. But last month in January, there was something like a 50% increase in the amount of cash sales just in Palm Beach County alone. So Palm Beach County, South Florida has a lot more cash transactions than other parts of the country. So I think this is going to be a bigger effect down here. Plus, we're number one for fraud on everything.
Yeah, we rule that.
Yeah, we rule fraud.
Dominant.
So
Dominant.
I wonder if we're going to find out like crazy stuff because of this. But I don't think they're going retroactive. It's all new stuff. So anyway, FinCEN, that's what it's called. FINCEN,
Yeah.
Crime
I don't think I'm reading
Enforcement Network.
It's not necessarily cash sales. It's sales that involve entities versus people, right? So things like trusts, LLCs, any business operation. So and what's happening is the settlement company, like Trident Title, is the one who's responsible for capturing and reporting the information. So it's like, Jim, you have an LLC, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, for example, and you want to buy a home and you close in that LLC. Well, they're going to say, Jim's the owner. James DiPaola is the owner of the LLC.
And here's all the stuff.
You're the beneficial
here's
owner,
social security number, address, and all
I'll
that.
tell you,
I don't think it's going to be anything additional for the majority of transactions.
Well,
It's just
for the average consumer, they won't see it. It'll be seamless. It'll
for
just
even
be
investors. Even investors are going to.
investors are, Mike, I'm already talking to them. They don't like it at all.
Really?
Yeah, they don't like this at all because it opens them up to more liability. It stops one of the things they're trying to do. And the other thing is about it is that they're going to have a lot of fights. There's going to be a lot of investors fighting with the title company at the beginning, saying, "I don't want to give you this information," and they're going to be very confused. That's why they were supposed to put this out, I think, September of last year, and they didn't know how to unroll it. So now they spent more research and then finally said it's time to do it. So a lot of investors I'm talking to, they don't like it.
I'm curious what they're worried about, though.
Yeah,
a
me
lot
too.
of it,
If it's
a lot
not
of
public
it's Big
record.
Brother stuff. So there's nothing that it's just a political thing in their head saying, I don't want. Why should the federal government know all this stuff about me? Blah blah blah. And there's a lot of people that feel like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you another one that's a lot of it that's driving that percentage up is a lot of people do irrevocable trusts.
Yeah.
So if that's in there too, that's a big chunk too, but to those people, it's not going to matter. It doesn't sound like it's just going to be the title company sending some information to the government.
Yeah. And I mean, I right now, I think all this information is already captured, whether or not it's shared with one central place or not. Like, for example, when you register your company with SunBiz, like you have to put there's articles and organization that describe who are the principals in the company, right? So that information exists and it's actually accessible.
You can shield it.
No,
You can shield that.
You can
shield it. And most people do, Mike. We have to ask them.
So when you try to get a loan with that type of
you have
structure,
to ask, what happens is you have to ask the owner. We can't use the SunBiz. What's on SunBiz? You have to give me the document that says that you have signatory power, but that's not in SunBiz. You have to get that from the person.
Right. So we need seller signing authority, right? Because the person who's signing the contract has to have the authority.
But that's not public record.
But it exists as information. Is my point. Not necessarily. It's not going to be public now, right? Like you can't go to FinCEN and look up this information.
Yeah, that's
or
the
can
thing.
you?
The information
you
does
think
exist.
It's an open database.
It already exists.
They
It's
just
just
don't
the
collect
sharing
it.
of it, the
They don't
collecting of it.
collect
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
The federal government doesn't collect it now. It's there. It's available. If the federal government came in and subpoenaed something, they could get that information very easily.
Yeah.
But now, when they're not doing that, they're being proactive, where they're trying to get the information to make sure that the transaction is legit, not after the fact, but during the closing, making sure it's legit.
We're
when
amping
you-
up data collection.
Yeah.
When you,
massively in the last couple
That's
of
what
years.
it is.
When you file corporate tax returns for LLCs, there's a form that tells who the owners are, right? So 50, 100%, whatever it is. So I'm just saying the information exists. The federal government most likely has it unless you never file a tax return. So I don't know. It seems like it's not that terrible for people, investors.
I don't really,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. I'm just telling you that there's a lot of investors out there. Investors mostly are very, get big government out of my face all the time, and that I'm overtaxed all the time. And, that's just the way that they're
And
built.
sometimes you'll see LLCs within LLCs within LLCs within LLCs, and then you start to say, well, what's really going on here? And then you get maybe there's a hint of illegal activity potential.
That's the thing. If you're trying to evade the collection of your data that's being used to develop your taxes, maybe you're not really reporting what you're supposed to be.
That's possible too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So FinCEN starts tomorrow. So if you're an investor, you're closing, and next week your title company goes, hey, I need this information. If you say I'm not giving it to you, they're not going to close, because the title company is the one, as Mike mentioned, is responsible to the federal government for providing this information. And they have 30 to 60 days after the transaction closes to give the federal government that form with the information. And I don't think any title company worth their salt is going to wait to get that information before closing. They're going to, I'm not closing if you don't give it to me right now.
Right, because they have no leverage after it closes.
Yeah.
They can beg for it all they want.
And thank you, Trident Title, for giving me some information about this so that I could talk about it on the air. We're going to try to get somebody from Trident over here to talk about this in more detail about what it's like. I wanted to give it a couple weeks just to see how it goes and have some real life examples. Trident Title LLC, one of the best title companies in the area. The thing I love about them is that they can close anywhere. There's almost no place in the country that I have not been able to close a transaction here in our South Florida area, and they could be anywhere in the country and close if you need to. They're also attorney backed, and they're one of the largest group of title companies in the country, associated with the largest publicly traded title company group. So Trident Title's the place. All realtors use them. It isn't just my title company. Everybody should use them.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay. Let me see here. The other thing I wanted to bring up was, hold on here.
877-927-6969 if you'd like to be a part of the program. Questions, comments, concerns. You want to get involved with the conversation at hand, don't be shy. Plenty of time for you on a Saturday. And we're live. Today's the 28th of February, huh?
Can you
last day
imagine?
of the month. February flew by. Huh? Good Lord.
I can't believe we're getting to the end of the first quarter of the year. I mean, it's really crazy. Wanted to ask you what you thought about this. There's a new bill, not about property taxes, but another home affordability bill, where the bill would require employers to assist for down payment and closing costs for their employees to buy a home.
Bless you.
And I thought this
horrible.
was, I thought that, bless you, Mike.
Thank
I thought this, so it's only a bill. It hasn't been voted on yet. It's a Florida House Bill 311. It would require private companies to pay up to $5,000 to assist their employees in a first-time home buyer program. And they're trying to put this together. Now, the benefit, even though
this is a state thing?
this is a state thing. And it says it wants to work with private companies to offer their employees a first-time home buyers program where they can get up to $5,000 towards the down payment and closing costs. And the companies that would do that, they would get a $5,000 tax credit for their taxes as doing it.
So
Why?
how's it-
What do you think about this? I
It sounds like I'm buying a bunch of down payments for people.
I totally understand.
I mean,
but
what's the point of having the employer in there? Is it?
And
It's a
employers-
middleman.
Yep.
I know.
And they'll benefit.
I know, and it just seems like it's throwing it on the shoulders of the employers. Now, what about this argument, though? Let's say that I was like one of those people that really believe in the K economy really bad and feel like, regular people are getting really screwed in this economic system. And their attitude is,
duh.
well, if the employees paid us more originally, they wouldn't have to give us down payment and closing costs.
Well, that's just it. Make a livable wage, and we're not even having this conversation.
So
Right.
I'm self-employed. So do I buy myself a $5,000 credit?
That's
just
a
like
great
that.
question for Jarrett.
Yeah.
Jarrett
and if not,
Petty.
why am I discriminated against?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You need to have employees, AJ.
Yeah.
Maybe even including yourself.
So I don't get the credit.
Well,
If I'm
you need to
self-employed.
be a private employer, right? So that just means you need to.
I
have
just
an
need to
employee.
change the entire foundation of my company to take advantage of a
No,
$5,000.
you already
tax
have
credit.
the company. You just have to have an employee.
I don't though.
But
They'll
it's
probably
you.
put a floor in there too. You have to have
I'm a
X amount of
subcontractor.
employees.
Yeah, it's-
Sure.
You employ yourself.
You're going to
But I think AJ's first
hire hot
reaction.
AJ,
Yeah.
and that hot AJ is.
But his first reaction was, wait a second, why do you go through? You're going to force the employer to manage the distribution of the gift funds, but then you're going to give them a tax credit to get it back. It's like,
Right.
why not just have the taxpayers
Do the credit.
or have the, whatever, the state do the credit,
Right.
or do the 5,000, right?
Because they can't stand up there and say that they're going to have the employers pay it, even though they'll know that they're lying, because they're going to be giving them a tax credit.
Yep.
It just sounds better.
But if they're giving them a tax credit, the taxpayer is paying for the
Exactly.
For the
Yeah,
5,000.
that's right.
Yeah.
It
But
just-
that's not what they're going to say.
It
They're gonna
doesn't.
say
It
the
doesn't
employers are
hit
paying
the
it.
constituents that they care about's head right if they say the states basically
Exactly.
the taxpayers are going to do this. Now, for everybody else, we're like, okay, it feels like good use of our taxes at some point. You know what I mean? Sort of. And this one in particular, not so much. But
To me, it's like this is a symptom of not that the wages, fair wages, don't equal what it costs, the cost of living for the areas that we're living in, and that's the big problem.
Oh,
And that's
yeah.
why I'm
Right.
saying that.
constant problem.
That's why I keep saying people don't want to hear this, but that's why I keep saying that the only way that this affordability crisis is going to be corrected is, in my opinion, is that we have to have a correction. And that's going to be very painful. Hopefully not as painful as the last correction we had, but it could be very painful if we go through that. Or they're going to have to figure out a way to make cheaper housing, right? Which gets back to that 3D printing housing. One of my friends, I think we talked about last week, did something on accessory dwelling units, which are becoming more in vogue. Palm Beach County launched their own accessory dwelling unit where you could basically put a small livable unit on your property
Mhm.
and can use it as either income or to a multifamily situation, something like that.
And that apartment, that's what I texted you about yesterday.
Mhm.
That apartment in Lake Worth, that's a container multifamily
We're-
property with
yeah.
a small apartment.
Yeah, let's talk about that for just a little bit because it was interesting because I saw one of those it was either Arizona or Colorado. I watched a video and those it looked very much like that community in Lake Worth. The Lake Worth had one of the first shipping container apartment complexes we saw.
Nice.
It was 5 units, brand new everything, looked very nice on the inside.
Yeah, they look nice.
They look pretty nice.
Looked like there was like carports under it, maybe, and it
Mhm.
was elevated.
With the carport, and they had 3 on the top, 2 on the bottom. $2,500 a month was the rental. So somebody bought the land, put in these shipping container apartments, and now they're $2,500 a month. And let me tell you, for $2,500 a month, brand new everything, it looked
In Lake
like good
Worth, like
value
that
in
too. I mean,
downtown
Lake Worth, yeah.
It was good value. So like, if people could start building homes like that and make it less costly to build the home, that would be a big salvation to not go through the painful correction I'm talking about. Because frankly, I think we're still like 25% over what is affordability is.
I don't think you're, but if we're talking about like values, okay, yes, 2022, 2021, the values went up a lot. But since then, they've been flat.
Mhm,
How's gold been? How's the US dollar been?
mhm,
If you look at it that way, we've already been losing value.
mhm.
Yes, the $400,000 is still $400,000, but $400,000 doesn't buy as many bananas as it used to.
Well,
Facts.
but the problem is it's not reflected in the monthly market reports. Palm Beach County just hit an all-time record in January for a 700,000 median sales price.
Yeah.
I almost fell out of my chair when I saw it.
I saw your email blast, and as I went to Palm Beach County, I was like, my goodness, Martin County's little correction is interesting too. But yeah, Palm Beach County's
It
roaring.
just exploded. Now
Yeah.
the highest ever we had
Seems like a
was in
mistake.
no, it wasn't. In 2024 was 659,999.
It's obviously the numbers are obviously bolstered by the island side.
That's all what it was
Well,
about.
look at Avenir.
27% increase of $1 million or more property sold. 20% increase compared to January the year before.
Hmm.
So we had 27% increase of $1 million or more. And many of those were not $1 million. Many of them were $5 million, $7 million, $10 million. Right. So that skewed
That's how you
everything.
prop the
It
number
skewed
up.
everything. But if you started looking at what's affordable for, let's say, 500, around 500,000 affordability, most of it out there is a lot of fixing up, a lot of deferred maintenance.
Yeah.
Really crazy. Let's go ahead and take a break. On the flip side, we're going to talk about eliminating property taxes. We're going to get into the market report later, but we're going to talk about eliminating property taxes first. Is it possible that the state legislature is going to, and the governor is going to figure out a way that eventually people will not have to pay property taxes? I always have a little asterisk for school and police, okay? But not pay property taxes as a homesteaded owner. Is that really possible? We're going to talk about where they are right now in that. And what I also did was I checked out how that would affect the new bill that they're trying to pass, how it would affect in Palm Beach County specifically, just to use one of our counties, of how much money we're collecting now, how much we would lose, and what kind of services that would be. So I think it's interesting. So we're going to talk about that next.
All right, excellent. Lots to get into on this Saturday. You're always welcome to join us toll free at 877-927-6969. Of course, if you are not comfortable on the radio and you need to speak with one of the pros, the experts on the Florida Talk Real Estate team, remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. There's a hotline. You can call it 888-973-7828, answered by a live body 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You'll find it perched at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Consume and share. Please like and share, because you can absolutely change lives with the pros of FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Buying a home, selling a home, stuck with a home, don't know what to do, need professional expertise in anything that touches the world of real estate, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com is your resource. We're back in 4 minutes. Thanks for being with us every Saturday. It's Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
The visual aid you need for all the freaky stuff we talk about on the radio. Find it at realradio921.com. Here's the latest with weather on Real Radio.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl with CBS 12 News. Things will stay dry, a little bit muggy and cloudy until we start to see showers moving through. This will start around mid to late morning. Those showers do have the potential to turn severe because we are going to get nice and warm ahead of them. We're expecting afternoon high temperatures in the lower 80s and upper 70s across the area.
This report is sponsored by WeatherBug.
Get the fastest local alerts and accurate 24/7 forecasts with WeatherBug. It's easy to use and provides real-time customizable alerts so the weather never takes you by surprise. Plan every day with confidence. Download the free WeatherBug app from the App Store now.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DiPaola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
You're listening to Real Radio 92.1. And we are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DiPaola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, that's it. 877-927-6969. You are cordially invited to join us. Questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate, or if you'd like to be involved in the conversation at hand, don't be shy. It's 9:36 on your wall clock there. Not yours. And of course, it's the last day of February. Yes, we're live on this Saturday. Johnny C is me. Timothy's our producer extraordinaire. What's up, my dude?
Hello, and good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Mike Rouse here. He's the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Hello, Mike.
Mm-hmm. Good morning, all. Last day of February.
Yeah, come on.
Oh,
you like March?
It's my birthday month.
Oh, well, happy early.
Should that make me like it? Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. Getting older. But I get older every day, John.
I was going to say
that's nothing new.
I'm older now than I've ever been before.
Yeah, me too.
Really?
So it's literally legit the oldest I've ever been.
Huh. You guys.
Right now. Well, now.
This one?
Now.
Right now.
Yeah.
Legitimately right now, the oldest I've ever been.
Now
it is. There's AJ Holman. He's with experienceappraisers.com. Just at this point, the oldest he's ever been.
That's true.
Right now. Good to see you as always, my dude. And Jimmy D's here. He's our fearless leader. 14 years, I've told you, he runs a top-producing Keller Williams team, the Florida Home Pros with Keller Williams Innovation. I call him Jimmy D. It's Jim DiPaola. How you be?
Hey, I'm doing okay. Happy South Florida, everybody.
Yeah, I love it.
Hey, we're going to talk about Florida's push to eliminate property taxes. We've been talking about this as the whole thing's been going on. We actually, even once, I think I did some research and we found out, I think, 3 or 4 other states that have tried to eliminate property taxes
and
how they tried to do it and whether it worked or didn't work. Or did they even get to the table? Florida's just not letting this go. So the House just passed a bill that's supposed to go to the Senate with a proposal where it wants to eliminate all non-school property taxes for homesteaded properties. Now, it wouldn't be an overnight thing. They would start in January 2027 by increasing your homestead exemption by $100,000 every year for 10 years. And the math is showing that by 2037, an average Florida homeowner would pay $0 in non-school property taxes. Now, there's a little asterisk there because it's saying non-school property taxes, but they also have a clause in there that it prevents local governments from cutting police, fire, and first responders below the current levels that they have now. So that's what they're trying to do. Now, they only have until, I think they already had it. I think it's passed. Let's see. They had until yesterday to get anything done. So obviously that's not happening, but they're expecting that there'll be March 13th. I'm sorry. They have till March 13th for the Senate to agree to this proposal. And if that happens, it'll go to the governor. That's not really likely. They're probably going to have a special legislative session on this, though. So this isn't something where they're just going to let it go. They'll bring it back if they can't finish it. Now, the Senate is not looking so hot about this one, this idea. What they're worried about is going to create an $18 billion hole in the local budgets. So the cities and the counties are going to have to come up with another $18 billion somehow, not through property taxes, homesteaded property taxes, but in different, come up with this money in a different way. And they feel like this is going to really put a burden on local and county government. And they don't know what kind of services are going to be damaged by that. So what do you guys are thinking? What do you guys are thinking about this?
I think
$18 billion.
I think there's two likely ways that they'll fill that budget hole, which will either be with a sales tax, which is just going to hit everybody, or they're going to put a really heavy burden on the non-homesteaded property owners and increase their millage rate, which is going to impact business and investment.
And renters.
Yeah.
And renters and things like that, the people that are related to the business and real estate.
Yeah.
Landlords are going to have to charge more because the taxes are going to go up, right? And
so make rents more expensive because the landlord's got to cover their increase.
Right.
Costs.
Just like insurance and costs increase and stuff, like they're going to have to, usually try to pass that cost on to the consumer.
It's not a solution because the money still has to come from somewhere. It's not like they're eliminating the need for the money. They're just tweaking the system a little bit, but I'm afraid I'm going to lose out because I like my homestead exemption the way it is. I'm nice and settled into my home. I get a good spread on my assessed versus my market value. And I feel like the current system really benefits the long-term occupants, the residences, the locals, the natives.
And you can't forget that the existing system does keep your taxes relatively low in the long term, right? So yes, it hurts if you're buying in an expensive market, it hurts initially, but 20 years from now, you've had the homestead the whole time, which is where a lot of people find themselves. Like they've had their homestead for 20 years, so their taxes are
like I said, the long term,
residents.
The
long term. So there is savings that happens with the existing system, right? The Save Our Homes initiative, the homestead exemption in the first place, the portability stuff already exists, right? To try and help protect against runaway property taxes. So while home values have increased and your taxes have increased, there's been caps on those increases. But if you're not homesteaded, it's gone up with the market. So you can't lose sight of that fact, right? Like there's a system in place that does protect your property taxes from going haywire, right? From going crazy. But yeah, I mean,
I don't want to have the same, I don't want to be on a level playing field with the person that just moved here last year. I've lived here for over 50 years. This is my benefit. This is one of the few benefits I get as I watch the entire town that I grew up in just get changed so much by so much influx of people.
Yeah.
And see so many of my friends that are moving away because they can't afford to live here. And they're the ones that benefit the most from the current system.
So why are they moving away?
Because they can sell a home here for $500,000. Look, we're trying to sell my parents' place in Georgia, right? For over a year now. 40 acres, 1,500-foot stream, 3/4 of a mile of national forest. It's worth roughly twice what my 25-foot by 100-foot townhome lot is worth.
Yeah.
It's like 6 of my subdivisions, and it's only worth double.
Right.
And so you could get a lot more by moving away, and that's what a lot of people are doing. But the ones that still live here, that work here, that continue to raise their families here, they've all had homes since they were in their 20s, and they're in their 50s now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I look at the property tax thing, like I feel like they're going to create a budget shortfall for a lot of these municipalities and counties, and it's going to be very difficult for them to just say, okay, budget slashed, let's rearrange everything, and then not see those impacts in the community, right? They're like, hey, we've had to cut our budget by X amount of dollars, and are you going to see that, or can they make things go on like normal with the reduced funds? So it's not do more with less, it's do the same with less, or inevitably it's going to be do less with less.
They're just going to get the money from somewhere. I don't think they're going to cut the budget.
Or they say, we got to figure out how to get more money.
Yeah.
So what are we doing? Maybe we're going to do a community drive to raise funds because look, our streets are getting we don't have the budget for the streets, or like they do in the school with the teachers, right? we don't have the budget for school supplies. So parents, can you please chip in? I mean, and we're going to get to that level, right? Where they're asking the community to chip in to keep the community beautiful.
We literally, my little had a state competition that they attended this week, and the teacher asked for it because they can't require it, but the teacher asked if every student can chip in $15 for the bus. We did. Obviously, we give a little extra because we always do when they ask. Exactly. 15.50. The teacher had to come out of pocket hundreds of dollars that she doesn't have in order to get this bus, to get these students to the event so that they can be involved in the state competition. The school doesn't pay for it. Like, and again, they can't require the students to do it, but like that's a sad state. Really sad state of where we're at right now. We're literally this teacher who doesn't make enough money had to come out of pocket, find a way. I think she got it from her parents to get this bus paid for. And we're sitting there like, man, should we give her money we don't have? Because
we're in the richest per capita county in the country.
Plenty of
in the country.
Money. Yeah.
Right. And the teachers have to pull money out of their own pocket on their relatively low salaries. Teachers get paid pretty good.
Yeah.
Overall, but still low for cost of living. And they got to pull their money out because the school won't pay for services that are needed. Yep. That's been going on for over 30 years because I used to write grants.
We're just giving you the latest example. It's not new. Here's an example from
Florida
2 days
lottery.
ago.
The Florida lottery is going to fix all that.
It will. It will.
Yeah.
We'll have so much money in the coffers.
Let's talk about figures in Palm Beach County just to put this in perspective like Mike did. Okay, so the research I did, it shows that for the 2025-2026 tax year, because it ends in September 30th, October 1st is the beginning of the year till it's a fiscal year, not a yearly year, right? So this year, the 2025-2026, the total tax revenue is expected to be $6.2 billion. If they did this bill, they would see that the county officials are estimating that they'd lose between $485 million and $600 million for the general funds alone, right? So they're going to be losing about 10% of the $6.2 billion if this law went into effect, right? So they'd have to come up with about $485 to $600 million more and figure out where they're going to get that money.
Or cut spending, right? Cut the budget.
Or cut spending. So,
that's not going to happen.
So I mean, that's like they have to do that. Like it's just it's gonna be you either cut back.
Yeah, somebody's got to lose,
right?
Something's
or you
have
to increase revenue.
Right, or like they did just you start eliminating programs.
Yeah,
well, that's cutting spending.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So then, I wish I could tell you who the legislator was, but we had one of our state representatives just the other day laid out a claim of all these counties and the actual waste, the fraud that was utilized in those counties from the coffers. I know Palm Beach County and Broward are flat out denying. They're like, that is horrible misinformation. Like, I think the claim was Palm Beach County misappropriated like $350 million or something like that. And again, it's all county by county, and certain ones were only laid out in this explanation, but they're trying to lay it out like, hey, we don't have to change much because look how much waste is being used.
Well, they said that about the federal government, and our deficit is exploding.
I was going to say our deficit's
where's all
gone
that money?
now, isn't
And
it?
the deficit is exploding. There isn't as I'm sure there's plenty of waste out there, but the amount of waste is not going to solve our problem.
Yeah.
And we always got to end the waste, right?
For sure.
If things are being wasted, we have to have somebody. So I don't mind having a fresh set of eyes looking at everything.
Ever.
For sure.
As long as it isn't just a political, it
What's your
is a
motivation?
political thing.
Yeah.
If it's really just waste and fraud and abuse
Yep.
for real, I'm all for that,
Let's stop
right?
that.
I used to be an investigative reporter. I love that. I used to try to find that stuff and expose it, right?
Totally.
So we want that to happen. But if they, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, like, if you went to the head of whatever organization is receiving budget funds, and you said, hey, do you guys have enough? What's the answer going to be to that question?
Well,
we got more than enough. We can trim some fat. Or they always going to be like, listen, we've got a lot of stuff that we can't fund because we don't have the funding. We want to, we need to, long term, we have to.
There's always a wish
but we
list.
can't.
There's
right?
always a wish
Every
always a
single
wish list,
organization.
everything. And I don't have a problem controlling it, but I want to talk about some statistics about property taxes and how it went up crazy without any controls, because I think there's some truth there. But
Sure.
before I get to that, listen to this. I didn't know this. A Florida Tax Watch group actually said, okay, if they pass this law and homesteaded owners don't have to pay non-school taxes, how will this affect all the different cities? There's 116 cities that they said would be at risk, that they couldn't operate on a normal government level if this law goes into effect. And
116?
116, and guess what? Boca Raton and Boynton Beach are in that group.
Huh.
So it doesn't have Fort Lauderdale and everything. So the bigger towns, Boca Raton and Boynton Beach, both are states on the state's watch list for potential revenue shortfalls against public safety costs if this law went into effect. And then the second thing is smaller towns in this general South Florida, Palm Beach County only. I'm sorry. The reason why it is Fort Lauderdale, I only did a Palm Beach County thing, so I apologize. But the small towns are Briny Breezes, which is a mobile home park on the ocean, and then Atlantis, which is a very wealthy community out west, south central Florida, Palm Beach County.
They pay their own police
Nice.
there, don't they?
South Central.
I'm sorry.
They pay their own police there, don't they?
Oh yeah, they're their own municipality.
Yeah,
Something isn't.
They're a gated city.
something's
That's
not
actually
aligning.
really nice.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah.
is not aligning with what you're saying, Jim. Because I think you just said
Then talk to Florida Tax Watch.
you said Palm Beach County, 10%. They're
Mhm.
talking about losing 10% of the overall
Just
budget.
of the public fund. That's just public, the general fund. There's all these different funds, Mike. That's just the general fund.
And that's
There's
just-
a lot of pots that
So
the money
I guess
goes
what
to.
I'm going to is like, what chunk of our overall budget comes from property tax? And so,
It's about 25% is what I read from other
okay.
things.
And we're not talking about eliminating property taxes completely, but they're saying it's going to be a 10% reduction in what's collected. Have they done
For
that
the
number?
general fund.
Yeah, because what
For
was
the first year, though, right?
Right.
Because
well, no,
this
it
is an
doesn't, it doesn't say that. So I don't know if this
Because
is
you
the
said
effect.
100,000 every year.
I
if
don't
they
know if
did
this
that.
is 10 years from now, but they're
Yeah.
saying this budget, if the thing was in effect right now, right, under 2025, and everybody got the 100,000 off, right? I'm assuming that's what it is. It
I would
shows
assume that's what it
485
was.
to 600 million, right? Now, so it is very scary that there's two things that really bothers me about the idea of what's happening right now. What seems to me is that in order to eliminate property taxes, local residents would have to, through their legislator, because this is going to be passed by legislators, that we're giving up local rights to higher rights,
It's
right? So
horrific.
we're going from local and county deciding what's best for their residents and the residents voting on that. They're going to have a mandate from the state telling them what they can and can't do. And that kind of bothers me a lot because it's just like giving up state rights to federal rights. We're seeing that happen a lot right now. And I don't agree with that at all. I
At
think
all.
there's too much of that going on. And
Yep.
now it's happening from state down to local. It's really becoming a more,
It's been happening because they've done that
Yeah.
some with the I know I had a client out in Wellington that his property zoning was such that basically the town planner was like, you can do whatever you want and there's really nothing I can do to stop you
yeah.
because of the state laws.
Mhm.
That-
Starting a club.
Now,
You know what I'm saying, Johnny?
but let-
what you saying?
But let me flip on the other side though. Okay, let me flip on the other side. I did a report last show or the show before this where in Palm Beach County, was it Palm Beach County? I'm sorry. Yeah, Palm Beach County from 2014 to 2024, we saw 150% overall tax hike in property taxes. Now, this isn't with the homestead caps, just the values have increased 150% for taxes per capita over that 10-year
But-
period.
But think about, I just had to look for somebody, a retrospective appraisal back to like 2014 timeframe, 2012 maybe.
Mhm.
And this was a house that I just appraised for maybe, I don't remember the exact number, but let's say maybe 450. That thing was only worth 150.
Right.
Because you got to remember that time period. I'm looking back through the MLS, short sale, foreclosure, desperation. Like we had a trough of value. So when you say those particular 10 years, just remember your property value might have tripled during that time period almost. Certainly doubled.
Right.
A lot
That's,
of people.
I agree. That's the point.
Yeah.
The point I'm trying to say, though, is did we get triple services? No, but they collected the money.
And the population
that's
didn't
what-
triple.
Right. That's what drives me crazy. It's like what drives me crazy is when we have these huge spikes in property values, because we've seen it during the boom of 0305 or 0306.
Yeah.
Pick your poison. We saw it during COVID, right? We saw it both times where we had these tremendously unrealistic property values going up, and you could justify it. The numbers are justified because people were willing to pay that price at that moment based on all those circumstances. So it was legit that way. The first time was dirty mortgages. The second time was legit, right? Because we didn't have dirty mortgages.
And for everyone that follows along, whenever the home sells, that's when that tax resets, and that's when they get this huge influx of money.
Yeah, and the thing is like
but
there
if
seems to be no control for that. So that's the part I agree with the people that are complaining that we got to do something about the property taxes.
There is control for that with the existing homestead exemption,
right?
Because even though your home has increased 3-4 times,
no,
your taxes haven't gone up.
Yeah,
3-4
that's great
times.
for the homesteaded people. But then what happens is when they sell it, how many times, Mike, do we?
Yeah.
This is like such a big thing for us to talk to buyers now for education. It's so important. I do this all the time now. I just had a couple that are in contract now. The people's property taxes that they were buying was like $3,900. I don't have the exact number in my head, but it was startling. It was $3,900 a year. They're using portability, and their new tax bill is going to be like $9,800 a year.
With
with the portability, $6,000 more. Now, that government is fine working off of the $3,900 a year to pay for services. And now the new owner, right, because they were. And now the new owners have to pay 3 times the amount or 2.5 times the amount the other people. And it makes the house $500 a month more to that homeowner.
Yeah.
That's what drives me crazy. So, Mike, it does protect the homesteaded people for a long time. And I agree with AJ that the homesteading's very important, needed, but there has to be a way to fix that gap.
The control is the millage rate. This is the same conversation we had a month ago. The vehicle is there. They just choose not to exercise
because
it.
what they do is they don't adjust the millage rate. They
look at the budget and go, look, we have an extra $2 billion. They don't say, oh, we could trim this $2 billion.
Well, what happens is Port St. Lucie was famous as being one of the highest tax cities.
Still are, aren't they?
I think they're only like number 6.
Yeah, but the service is there. Look at all
the city.
There's like nothing.
But they had the highest tax rate, but they had dropped their millage rate, not the highest tax rate. They had the highest rate. Then when the property values went up really high, what happened was, what are you laughing about, Mike?
There's a comment.
Oh, okay. What?
An example of fraud
or
waste is that the Dade County police are allowed to take their cars home, and they live up in the northern counties.
Yeah.
So they're commuting, an hour and a half,
that
2 hours. With the publicly funded vehicle.
We were talking last weekend about a Broward officers buying in Palm Bay or something like that.
But they couldn't because of the distance.
But in that moment, I was like, I bet you they're driving the squad car.
The
whole time too.
Well, when the economy was bad, I want to get off on this, but when the economy was bad, and I was a reporter in the 90s when the economy was really bad, they were curtailing that kind of stuff, and then they opened it up again when the economy got better, which is exactly my point. As as things improve, then they start giving out more and more stuff, and they cut it back because they were tight. Then when they stopped being tight again, they start opening it up and start bringing back stuff they had cut out. I wish there was more control over that millage rate, and maybe there has to be some kind of state oversight saying you can't do more than this without state approval or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Why stop at the state? Let's go federal.
Well, the thing is, Mike, our system is, in my mind, our system is broken for affordability in Florida, and this K economy is not going to be going away in Florida for a very long time, and maybe never. We might have just seen the rearview mirror of what Florida used to be, and now it's going to be rich people move here, poor people move out, or middle class people move out, rich people move here.
The
It could
people
turn
that
into
serve
that.
the rich people move more to the middle of the state, and
Mhm.
all the people that we serve are on the
Yeah.
edges of the state.
And
That's
it'll
where it's
be
gonna
nothing but palm trees and parking lots.
But it doesn't. But
Oh,
it doesn't
nice.
have to be that way. If they could try to figure out how to fix the system, I'm not sure the homestead way is the right way. It might be the millage rate, and understand that, or there's a cap. If we go through these big booms where the appreciation goes up 22, 30%, you see it all the time on IMAP, right?
Oh,
Where
yeah.
the property appraisers are saying 22% increase in 1 year. Their value of home increased 22%, 30% in 1 year. That happened in 22 and 23, many places. Maybe there should be a cap saying, hey, if property values really increased 30% in 1 year, we all know that's not really true.
Well,
In the long run, it's going to flatten out. So don't go crazy with your millage rate now.
that was the first conversation you and I ever had when I walked in here, because you said, I don't understand how my home is now worth $500,000 just because my neighbor sold for 500.
Right.
Remember that? That was the
do.
first thing, like, conversation we ever had, I think.
Sure.
And I said, it's not the one neighbor selling for 500. It's because 6 of your neighbors sold for 500.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know,
Or at least 3 of them in the last 6 months.
Recently.
Yeah.
Jim, I think just to maybe to wrap it up, I think you are either like low tax guy and you have to operate within the budget, and I don't want to, like, you're spending too much at the local level, whatever it is. Your budget is too high. You guys have been running good. Now you need to cut back. You need to trim some fat. You need to get things in line. And I want low taxes. So I'm okay with that. I want you to operate within the bounds of what is taxable, right? So that's easy. But then when you couch and you say, hey, listen, we have an affordability crisis here in Florida. How are we going to solve affordability? Well, let's go with property taxes. To me, that's a red herring, right? Because I don't think you're solving the affordability crisis by
Right.
attacking property taxes, because I feel like you're just going to give ground on the price of the home. Right, it's cheaper from a monthly payment perspective because taxes are lower, so now I can afford more house.
Right.
I can buy a more expensive home and have the
Mhm.
same payments. I don't know that it's like a solution to affordability, but if you're I don't want to pay a lot of taxes, so you got to operate within the a lower budget, that's fine. That's your mentality. So great, attack taxes in every front that you can. Right, if you think that we're spending too much money at the municipal level, the schools, the police, the fire, whatever it is. Attack taxes on all fronts, including property taxes.
Like sales tax and other
Low
taxes.
taxes. I want
car
all my taxes low.
Yeah.
and
What do people love Florida? Because there's no state income tax, right?
Right.
So why are property taxes where they are? Because they have to,
Right, we
generate
don't have the state
revenue
income.
somehow, some way.
Mhm.
But if I'm a low tax guy, then I have to trade off services in order to, keep my taxes low, and I'm fine with that, right? If that's your mentality, then okay.
I really feel like I understand your point, but I really feel that the property tax issue is an issue about affordability, and it should be tackled because of that whole linchpin I'm talking about with the millage rate versus the assessed value. Something has to happen in there, because what have we learned in Florida? And Florida's like the king of this, right? Is that when we have these crazy price increases that happen in Florida, we know they're not really sustainable. Right. We go through that boom and bust kind of period, and it just rocks us, even when other parts of the country, we're going through it in Cape Coral and Fort Myers and all that out there right now. We're going through that because of all the hurricane damage, and it just decimated.
well, I was going to say
inventory
that was
over there.
because of a storm, though.
It did. But what I'm saying is that
For
is
whatever
that-
reason, you're going to have these cycles.
Right, we're going to have these cycles, and there has to be, when you have these crazy 1 year, 2 year increases in values of home, people have to go, wait a second, it's not statistically viable to have a 20% increase for 3 years in a row and still expect people's incomes to keep up with that increase in
That's-
your area. You can't do it.
That's why we got to punish all the out-of-towners that move here with high taxes. No, I'm serious, because look, the higher taxes they have to pay, the less they can afford, and the less they're going to be pricing out the locals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would like to see it tied to residency, to where you could say, look, yes, I'm homesteading. This is my first home, but I've lived here my whole life, or I've lived here for the last 10 years, or whatever. That's just my mentality, because
Born and raised.
Yeah, but what drives the prices up, if you get on the demand, right? The demand of this area is such that people want to come from all over the world to move here. Well, great, but you're rich and we're not, so you're going to have to pay more than us, or don't move here. That's an option I'm good with too.
Yep. I don't know if I could. I think I could get there. I don't know if I could push that one away too much, because I kind of feel the same way in a lot of ways. Like there should be an entry fee.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's like an amusement park.
Yeah.
I don't think
except for
Florida's
living
that
here.
cool.
Yeah.
So you guys aren't.
We are Florida.
The opposite of what
Entry
That's
fee to
exactly
go to
right.
Florida.
Let's highlight it.
So the opposite of what I was just saying, like when I'm a low tax guy, is like I'm not a low tax guy. I actually think we need
Right. Yeah, I know.
revenue.
Yeah.
I'm not saying me personally. I'm saying the other viewpoint is I'm not a low tax person. I actually think we need to fund our government. I think it is important that the government has money to operate schools and police and fire and local services and libraries and all of that stuff. So I'm okay those guys having a significant budget. I just don't want it to come from my pocket because I'm a Florida homeowner. I'm a, whatever it is.
Well,
So
like the
let's
burden.
increase the taxes elsewhere. I don't want to cut funding, but I don't want to be the one funding it. Right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the idea.
Well, kind of,
Right?
but it's
that's
also
what
the
everybody
point.
says.
It's also the point of using that system to facilitate or to encourage the behavior you want. And look, we don't need to encourage people to move here. Well, they're going to try to move here anyway. So why wouldn't we put the burden on the people that can afford it, which are the people that are going to move in here and say, yeah, okay, I can afford this.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. So that's the I don't know the solution. Jim, have they talked about, so let's say that you are that person, you're either relocating to Florida or buying your first home in Florida. You're going to have the highest tax scenario when you're not homesteaded, or maybe the first year that you buy it, even when you file that homestead in the second year, something like that. Are they talking about 100,000 exemption per year? And so like by the time you're in like the first year of your home,
They said the majority of people, the great majority of people by 2037 would have no.
but let's say
non-school
I
taxes.
buy in 2037.
Oh, I
What's
see.
my exemption that first year?
Oh,
is
I
it
don't know. That's a
100,000
good
or is it the
question.
full? Is
Yeah.
it the full
I don't know.
amount?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because there's going to be a moment if
Mhm.
let's just say you get 100,000 right now, you get a 50,000 one-time exemption essentially, but it's year over year. Now they're talking about stepping up that exemption through the years. So is it first year it's 100,000, second year it's 200,000, third year
That's
it's
what it
300,000.
sounded like.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing for the people, the existing. But what about like brand
Right.
new?
Yeah, I don't know.
purchases? Maybe it's like that.
So let's go ahead and take
Yeah.
a break, and then we're going to talk about something much happier.
This is happy.
I know.
No property
I know.
taxes. Happy
Yeah,
stuff.
that
Makes
would
me
be
happy.
Yeah, it would be. But we're going to talk about interest rates. Okay, we hit a milestone. We're going to talk about it. We're going to find out. I'm going to ask Mike what the savings is on a loan based on the change of interest rates 1 week over the other. So
Oh,
we're
yeah.
going to do a little
Huge.
research at the weekend.
Game changer.
At the break, and then we're going to talk about interest rates and what it means. Are we going to start seeing a boom of buyers coming in? Are sellers going to get those 10 to 15 offers and over the weekend again? Are we going back to
Chaos.
that? We'll see. We're going to talk about it, see what we think the effects are going to be.
Excellent. We still got plenty of time remaining on this Saturday. By my math, about 50 minutes left. Your phone call can be included at 877-927-6969. If you'd like to jump into the conversation at hand, bring something to the table, you're more than welcome. If you're not comfortable on the radio, but you do need access to the team, remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. We refer to it as the one-stop real estate shop for a reason. It's a team of pros, experts in their field, and you get them all one click away. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. On Facebook and YouTube, share, like. Thank you for your participation. Always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. We're back in 4 minutes. Florida Talk Real Estate right here on Real Radio.
Tell your smart device to play Real Radio 92.1 on iHeartRadio. Go on, tell it. Show that damn thing who's boss. Real Radio weather.
I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl with CBS 12 News. Things will stay dry, a little bit muggy and cloudy until we start to see showers moving through. This will start around mid to late morning. Those showers do have the potential to turn severe because we are going to get nice and warm ahead of them. We're expecting afternoon high temperatures in the lower 80s and upper 70s across the area.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Don't wait to save. Mattress Firm's President's Day sale ends soon. Their sleep experts are highly trained to find the right bed for your specific needs. Easier search, better rest. Get both today. They make sleep easy.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DiPaola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rao from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rao will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rao, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
From the Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys Studios.
Have you been in an accident? Call Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys at 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
Real Radio 92.1 is WZZR West Palm Beach, an iHeartRadio station.
Make us the #1 preset on your car radio and on the free new and improved iHeartRadio app. Listen for all your music, radio, and podcasts. Free never sounded so good. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DiPaola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
It is freezing in this side. I was just over in the warm side talking with Timothy during the break. And I got thawed out in a couple of minutes. I come over here and just,
I'm going to have to bring you a shawl next time I come.
You'd think I'd learn by now. You really would. I'm here every Saturday. I suffer.
You and AJ could sit closer together. Body heat. Body heat.
I like that. Why are you throwing me into this?
All right, slow
Well, you're the
down.
closest to him.
Slow down.
Sorry, AJ.
Jimothy, our producer extraordinaire, thanks for everything always.
You are very welcome, and good morning, gentlemen. Happy Saturday.
Good morning. Johnny C, that's me. I'm your old buddy, your old pal. Here's Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. How are you?
I'm doing good. I guess not as cold as you are.
No.
I mean, I feel it, but it's not like I'm not shivering.
I'm such a little bitch.
What temperature do you think it is? we have any sense of it? It's got to be like
72,
72, 73.
Yeah,
It's about the same as my house.
Yeah.
Freezing.
We keep our house at 76.
We set it at 78.
Hagen.
And it feels comfortable. Yeah, but that's on our thermometer, right? Like our
Your thermostat,
thermostat, yeah. So who knows what the real temperature
76 is a little chilly.
is?
Oh
it?
my God.
Yeah.
I'm a 73 guy.
Are you?
Yeah.
See, at night, I like it freezing,
Okay.
but not the house. The house is like 77, 78 at night. We have a
What do
little,
you do?
we have a little AC for the bedroom. Gets it down to 68.
Oh.
Yeah.
So, but then you cover up, like you
Yeah.
got blankets. You just
Yeah.
like the cold. You breathe the cold air.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Mike Rao in studio. AJ Holman is as well. He's with experienceappraisers.com. How are you, AJ?
Good morning. Doing good.
Good. I'm glad to hear it. If you don't believe me, you can always check out Facebook and YouTube. We're live streaming on a Saturday. You can check out all the guys, including AJ, Mike. And Jimmy D is over there too. He's our fearless leader. 14 years now, I've told you, he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. It's the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. Jimmy D, how you be? You're on camera,
Hey,
by the way.
I know I'm working at the same time, but I'm listening really well. Happy South Florida, everybody. We're going to be talking about interest rates, and we've hit a new, well, I can't say a new low, but we hit a low that we're back to 2022 interest rates. We haven't seen this since September 2022 interest rate this low. So
It's a new low, but in a good way.
yeah. So actually, that's a good thing. What I'm trying to look up right now, because it just popped in my head, but I'm not finding it, so I think I have to get quit. I really would like to see what our median home price was in September 22 when we had a 5.98 interest rate, because I bet you there's going to be a big difference between that price and where we are right now. But which just shows you affordability issue, right? Because we're same interest rate, but the prices I'm sure are going to be much higher. So I'm going to look for that summit point. So
But
Mike,
rates would have been on the rise at that point, right?
yes, that's true. They
Not
would
on
have
the-
started going up at that point, but it would be interesting to see what the difference in the price point is. I'm going to try to look it up in a little bit. So we're at 5.98. It's the first time we've been under 6% since September 2022. Now, last week we had a pretty big drop, Mike. Right? We went from what was last week.
Well, we
before
went from the sixes to the fives, Jim.
yeah, yeah, that's true. That's a
We
good way
went
to
from
say
6
it.
to 5.
Oh, he's being a salesman now.
Yeah, we went from
we went from the
6 to 5.
sixes to the fives.
It had a 6, now it's a 5.
So it was 6.01 or 02?
6.01.
6.01. And now we're 5.98. So I asked Mike to do a little quick math.
Oh.
If you're borrowing $500,000 and you were paying 6.01, how much would the mortgage rate be for principal and interest?
On a 30-year?
30-year.
Geez, I need my glasses. It's $3,000 at 6.01.
3,000. Okay, so now do 5.98. Look at that drop.
I guess we need to get cents here. So it's
Game changer.
$3,097 versus $29.93.
Oh, so it's more than
98 cents.
pennies.
It's $7.
$7.
$7 a month. I got to go out and buy a house right
And
now.
that's 0.0027.
Don't mock that. That's almost $100 a year, Jim.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That
People on SNAP benefits would be like, I'll take that $100.
you could buy 9 Starbucks with that.
No, but that's over 30 years, Johnny. Over 30 years?
Yeah, that adds up.
That's $3,000
It's just
That's
like that.
$3,000.
Yeah.
over 30 years.
So,
It's worth the headlines at least.
so let me tell you a funny story. I have a couple that are looking for properties, and the day that report came out on Thursday, the Freddie Mac report, and I'm gonna bring up a question that somebody asked me. Robert asked me about this, Mike. But we were standing in the driveway looking at a house that day, and I said, "Look, I don't know if you heard yet, but the interest rates they dropped to 5.98," and the person's face, like she did a double take and looked super happy. Right?
Yeah.
So we went to 5.98, and I looked at her and I said, "See, I go, remember that look on your face right now?" I stopped her, and I said, "So this is what you need to know. We're not sure, but this 5.98, because we're in the 5s now versus the 6s, as Mike says, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to start waking up and go, well, there might be a lot of people waking up and go, okay, it's time to do something now. And you might be starting to have to deal with other people that are competing on the same property you're looking at. They haven't had that too much lately.
Sure.
We've looked at a bunch of houses and they passed on them, but a lot of them are still sitting there and not moved yet. I said that might not happen in a couple of weeks. People might start waking up, and if you like it, other people are going to see value and start making offers, and you're going to be competing. Mike, do you think that's going to happen with that little bit of a drop, but that's psychologically because we're in the fives now? Do you actually expect to see large amount of people coming?
I think you're going to see an increase in people thinking about getting ready to buy. Right. So I would expect, get ready. So I would say my pre-approval volume should be going up. Now, does that translate to immediate, loan like contracts and applications? No, but I think people say, hey, wait a second, maybe things are moving in the right direction. Now let me get prepped. Like I've been waiting around for something, maybe mentally that 5 in front that got them thinking like, okay, now's the time. So yeah, I think we'll see some increase because of headlines, because people think like, the overall headline is mortgage rates are getting better. And so if you've been thinking about becoming a homeowner or even refinancing, your ears have perked up to that. And so I think that will turn into activity.
I don't think that's a bad thing though, because whatever it takes to get people to finally pick up the phone, to finally go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, to finally talk with Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm, to finally find out if, hey, maybe there's a property I'm interested in where the Smart Start program will benefit me. Like finally get the real knowledge, not the gaps they fill in on their own. That's a great thing. Whatever the impetus is to get this going is amazing.
Yeah, to finally get to the point where you can actually assess if that 0.3 drop week over week makes a difference for you.
Well,
right? But if you've been searching for a few months, AJ, like maybe 6 months, like in 6 months,
been getting
Jim,
better. We've
gone from mid 6s down to 6, right? So that has been a significant change for somebody who's been in, and maybe you've been waiting. Maybe you're connected to my app and you're actually shopping. And now because of this, like where we're at today, not last week to today, but just today, that house that you've had your eye on or that neighborhood, there's a home that came up that's priced right. And with this interest rate, now it works.
Yeah, I'd like to think you're getting phone calls like, hey, Mike, can you refresh my app?
And at the same time, during that same period of time, the insurance has been doing coming down too. And that helps you get into that qualification point where you might be able to get that home where you couldn't. After last couple of weeks ago, I ran my stuff by Ross. He absolutely hit it out of the park on my insurance.
How many times do we hear that story where it's like, okay, so you're not a home buyer, but you're interested in keeping your insurance at a good level. So are there savings out there with insurance?
Yeah, I just saved like almost $1,000 a year.
Did you?
AJ,
Yeah. Awesome.
Like 2 real world examples now happening where they're getting savings. Nothing to do with the market, nothing to do with interest rates, nothing to do with housing prices, everything to do with insurance.
Everything to do with just reaching out to Ross and seeing if it's a reality.
Which helps people qualify.
Right. So if you were evaluating 6 months ago at that higher rate with that higher insurance cost, now it might make more sense. And maybe this is where Jim was leading. All of a sudden, my pre-approval conversations are going up. People are getting serious. Boots on the ground. Well, the more boots on the ground doing what I'll call the serious house hunting, where they're looking at active listings, they're identifying homes that work, numbers that work, and then they're going out to visit those properties. If you see that activity increase, guess what? You're going to be competing for offers sometimes. And therefore, what happens with inventory, Jim?
If
more buyers,
right? If you have more buyers, then you're going to have more competition. It's going to tighten up, and its prices are going to probably go up a little bit. We can't say that they're going to go up a lot.
There might be other factors.
There'd have to be other things.
Sure.
Let me ask you this though: when Robert heard about the 598 Freddie Mac, he's like, "Hey Jim, is that the rate that I'm going to get?" And I told him no. Right?
That's right.
Could you explain that just for the regular public? Because if they hear 598 and then they go to you and you don't get 598, what's going on with that?
Yeah, so the 598 number is coming from Freddie Mac's report. It's called their Primary Mortgage Market Survey, or the PMMS. And it's the chart that we use every single week. And we've been watching that chart for years and years. And the reason we use that chart is because we want to use the same tool to check the temperature of the market. So we have a consistent tool. They come out with a number every single Thursday. I don't know what goes into their survey, but they're surveying mortgages that were closed or written or locked, or I don't know, whatever it is during the week, and they come out with that number, right? That doesn't mean that that's going to be your rate. Your rate is impacted by your credit, your down payment amount, loan to value. Your rate could be impacted if you're doing down payment assistance programs. Your income, not so much, although DTI maybe comes into play a little bit. But essentially, your rate for you is going to be a little bit different than what you see there. Could be better, could be worse, depending on what you're doing, right? But it tells us where we are. We use it because we know, okay, rates are down, basically 0.3 week over week. Rates are down almost 0.5% over 6 months, right? Year over year, Jim, where were we a year ago on rates? We were at 6.75 pretty much, right?
Yep.
So they've come down. Like, this is all really good information for us because we're like, what's going on with mortgage rates? You look at this chart.
And that's a good place to be. I mean, it's starting to get more into a sweet spot.
Yeah. And I talk to people, I use this chart in conversation a lot, like people who are looking at refinances. And part of what I do with refinance clients is to help them understand like when it's going to make sense. Part of that is understanding your goals. Like, what are the goals of your refinance? What are you trying to do? What type of savings are you thinking you're going to achieve? And then what's the point? And this is all about interest rate. What's the point where it's going to make sense for you to do this refinance based on rate alone, right? And so I can use Freddie and say, hey, listen, when this number is showing, mid fives, that's when we need to talk again. Right now, we're a little bit out of your zone. Or even people like, hey, this rate has to have a 4 in front of it before it's going to make sense for you.
Right.
So look at this chart. Let's talk when this thing gets down to, the fours, the high fours, something like that. So,
let me know when that happens. I'm on that.
If you want me to put you on a list,
dial,
right? A list for that, reach out. But you can watch that. It's easy. It's the PMMS, right? It's Freddie's chart. You can become a rate watcher too.
Oh, I'm an involuntary rate watcher. My feed is always full of that stuff.
Let me ask kind of a random question. So what if you're like lower tier qualifying, but you qualify for Fannie Freddie, so you're 3.5% down, right? FHA. What were you probably landing with your MI? Like, are you in the mid?
With your mortgage insurance?
Yeah, are you in the mid 6? Is that like? And you don't have to give me exact number, but ballparky.
So what are you asking? Are you asking what rate can you expect, or are you asking about MI?
What rate? Because you have to add the MI into your rate.
Okay, so those are two different questions. So let's just say like Freddie says 5.98. Let's call that 6% to make it easy, right? So Freddie's saying their thing says 6. So are you going to be 6? If you're 600-ish credit, 650, 660, something like that, right? So you're qualifying, but you're on the lower, you're not top tier credit. You're like middle to lower tier. What can your 30-year rate? You're going to get penalties for that, right?
Sure.
So essentially you kind of get a little bit elevated risk. They have what's called a risk-based pricing or loan level pricing adjustments. So what are you going to be? I don't know, higher than 6, right? Maybe you're at 6.25. Maybe it's 6.375. Maybe it's 6.5 if your credit is really starting to go lower. If you're doing a lower down payment, so 5% down with the 650 credit, you're going to be in that 6.5 zone, just as your 30-year rate, right? So you're not getting the very best rate. Top tier credit, even 20% down. If you're doing 30% down, it's better than 20% down as far as risk goes. Now, MI is a different question. When you don't do 20% down, you're going to have mortgage insurance. Mortgage insurance is expressed as a percentage, so something like 0.5, for example. So if your 30-year fixed rate were 6% and your MI were 0.5, you're basically paying 6.5%. So you can add those things together. So Johnny, let's say because of your credit score and because your down payment, you're not at 6, you're at 6.5, just based on that alone.
Right. And
then your MI is going to be 0.75 because you're lower tier. Instead of 0.25 or 0.35, it's 0.75. So you're essentially paying 7.25 with that MI.
And with that said, though, so and again, I'm not one that balks at 6% because I feel like we're probably in the zone that it should be. I feel like somebody with 3.5% down and kind of risk-based credit score, 7.25% or
so now
that feels
it's
pretty acceptable.
I mean, MI never feels good. Like people are saying, well, I got to pay for like an insurance and it doesn't protect me at all. And it's like, yeah, that's if you want to do low down payment, you're going to have insurance. Like there's an insurance that protects the lender against default. You pay for it. But you mentioned 3.5%. So it would behoove me to say, if you're doing 3.5%, likely you're doing an FHA loan. FHA loans don't have the same risk-based pricing or loan level pricing adjustments, or basically adjusters, penalties for lower credit. So whether you're 760 FHA or 660 FHA, you should have the same rate.
Okay.
So it's not affected the same way. And MI with FHA is also fixed, right? So instead of being based on your credit score, if you're doing the standard 3.5% down, it's 0.55%, right? And that is also not changing per credit. So one of the decisions when we're doing a pre-approval, Jim, one of the things we're looking at is what type of loan is going to make the most sense for you. And conventional loans have a low down payment. I mean, like you could do it at 5%. And sometimes if your income is below a certain threshold, you could do it at 3% down. So it's even less than FHA.
FHA.
But if I'm on the lower end of the credit, my mortgage insurance might be more than it is with FHA, right? So like if maybe my mortgage insurance is 0.75, that's 0.2 higher than FHA's at 0.55. So that might make the difference where, like, why would I go FHA versus conventional? Sometimes if you're on the lower end of the credit tier, FHA is going to make more sense, even if you can do the low down payment.
You're paying less MI.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot to like go into. It's not super complicated, but it's not like I would say it makes sense to have a professional who's helping you determine what loan makes the most sense.
Yep.
That's where I would come into play.
That's
Because
right.
with that FHA, you can't knock that MI off either.
So that's the other thing is like FHA mortgage insurance is for the life of the loan versus conventional mortgage insurance, which will cancel automatically essentially once you get to 20% equity. That's something to consider, AJ. Most of the time I would tell people it's better for you now with FHA. Yes, the MI is for the life of the loan. Don't worry about that. You're likely going to
sell or
refinance prior to, a 7-year window, 8-year window. I mean, it's a chance that happens. And so you can always kind of get out of your MI via that mechanism.
We put my brother-in-law in an FHA, and at the time I was like, this is only for a year or two, and then we'll get you. And then all the interest rates went up so much. I'm like, don't worry about it.
Yeah, but then it doesn't matter. It's like, okay, even with the MI, you're still lower.
Yeah,
Like,
still
you could be at FHA. If you did it, you might be at 4% plus 0.55 MI. So
exactly
4.55. Well, you're not refinancing out of that. You're not going to do better.
Right.
Which goes into what's the goal of the refi?
Right.
So when you get that advertisement in the mail, it's like, hey, refi now. Look at these rates or whatever. It's very easy to get distracted by some shiny, payment or whatever, but that doesn't really make sense.
Those are cranking up, by the way. Those are popping into the mailboxes on the regular.
Of course they are.
Yes, they are.
Also, there's the big one with so instead of a home equity line of credit, it's a home equity, what do they call it? But they give you a loan, but they take a little piece of the future value of the home.
Oh, yeah.
Negative equity payment?
No, it's a home equity product, but you're entering a contract where you're guaranteeing that lender some piece of the future value of the home.
Okay, then I need to talk to you. I need to talk to you about that off air, but we're going to talk about it right now. I just had a call from Terry. Terry is a big fan of the show. Terry and Crystal helped Terry sell Crystal helped sell a family relative's home. That's the one where the person was buried in the backyard, right? And Terry's just been a great person. Big fan of the show, always takes my calls, really appreciate it. Terry called me yesterday, Mike. I was going to talk about this off air. And he said to me, they really need to do cash out refi to pay some personal loans.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give fake numbers, okay? So it's not real numbers. Let's say that they owe 100 on the house. The house has to be worth at least 350.
Okay.
Right. And they want to take out like 60 grand. So I told them that, as long as they have a good payment history and a couple other things, they might be better off doing a HELOC than other things, but we'll get you over to Mike. And then one of the couple, I don't remember which one, it was either Terry or Crystal, they're reading about this negative equity. I'm calling it negative equity because I didn't know what it was, but this HELOC product.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not sure. That doesn't sound like the best thing. It probably cost you a lot of money for that product that you probably won't know until after you're in it and you want to do something later. And then you're going to find out you got this big bill. That's what it smells like to me.
Yeah.
I don't know enough. We're going to get you over to Mike. So I'm going to have you talk to them. Somebody in that situation, though, that should be, as long as that they have a decent credit score and that they paid their payments on time, getting a $60,000 HELOC when you have $250,000 equity in your home should not be that difficult, right?
So logically that makes sense, Jim. Got a lot of equity, they got a good payment history, but when you're qualifying for a mortgage, you have to qualify to make the payment. And so there's some sort of debt to income analysis that's part of that. And so a lot of times, yes, you have equity, yes, you got a great payment history, your credit's great, everything, but something's not quite right with the income, right? Or there's not sufficient income to take on this new payment. And so if you don't qualify for the payment,
right, I mentioned
you
that
can't get approved for the loan.
I mentioned that to him. Yeah.
There's products, the traditional, like how do I tap into the equity? And all of these come with caveats for like, how can you get approved for the loan? And in general, you have to have the ability to repay, to make the payment obligation, right? Some level of assessment of, are you going to pay us back is required. And so it's not just about your equity position. It's not just about your credit. It's about, are you going to pay us back? And how do we assess
And
that?
the more lax they are, my history has been, especially during the dirty mortgage period, 20 something years ago. My experience has been the more lax they are about making sure that the house is appraised, that your income is important, the less requirements they have on that, the more it's costing you because there's way higher risk. So
I think in general, like elevated risk means elevated costs to you, elevated penalties in the case of things don't go.
My
well.
attitude, if you're trying to top equity in your house and they're giving you a product where they don't even have an appraisal, right? They're like, well, if you take our deal, the company is telling the homeowner, if you take our deal, we're not going to do the appraisal. We're just going to give you the money. That has to be a really great deal for that company because they're willing to take a lot of risk without doing the appraisal. So they have to be getting such a good deal on that product that they don't care. Well, right. And you have to be really careful because I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there that are not reputable that are out there. That's why I'm bringing it up right now.
Yeah, I think probably the lesson or what my advice or counsel to people would be explore. You have to be talking to somebody who's aware of the various options that you have. And it's not just like, if I get a solicitation for one of these home equity investment, HEI, we'll call it home equity investment, which is essentially some sort of trade-off of I'm giving you a future interest in my home. That's why you're going to give me the money. Right. And it's not a foreclosure interest. It's other than that. It's something like, hey, when you sell, or if we force you to sell to pay us back, like one of those things, like we're getting paid back one way or the other. And I would say they're costly, but if that's the only game in town, but if that's what I'm selling and you call me based on the solicitation, I'm not going to talk to you about other options.
Exactly.
Right? I'm not going to talk to you about other options. I'm going to make it seem really, really advantageous for you. And like, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you do this? But probably what you should do is talk to a mortgage professional that has options like the traditional cash out refinance or some sort of refinance would be one way to tap into your equity. The other traditional ones are the home equity loan or home equity line of credit. I have access to some of those tools, but I also would tell you, hey, there's better options than me. But if in a pinch, I should be able to do it. Maybe there's reasons you do that. Or you can look at these HEI. You can look at these other strategies for paying off mortgages or like all of that stuff. We had a caller call in the other day talking about one of these, like pay your mortgage early by using a home equity line of credit and kind of run everything through there. So that's a strategy. Looked into it. But talk to somebody who can like analyze all of that. And it could be that you don't have any choice. You can't get qualified. You're not eligible for reverse. You're not eligible for a cash out. You're not eligible for traditional. Maybe you could do hard money, but hard money is really costly. So maybe there's this middle ground, and maybe it's okay to look at that because it's going to cost you more, right? It's just going to cost you more somehow, some way to use one of these products that you can't get approved.
There's no way I would be putting my house and connecting it to a company that has decision-making process of how my house is going to be handled later. And that's that HEI thing.
Yes.
And that's very scary to me. It's like, really, that's what you're going to do?
If it's the only thing you can do and you're desperate.
Yeah.
There's probably like you mentioned the hard money loans. Hard money loans are kind of like either a really good tool for investors or some sort of tool to like, I'm in a jam. I need help, right?
The only problem with the hard money loan, they want to be first. So if you have a mortgage, you're not getting a hard money loan for a second. They don't want to be in
But you
second.
could pay off a first and then.
Yeah, you could do
know.
that. Yeah, you could do that.
That's true, and they always want short term. They're not in it for a 5 or 10 year. They want
And listen, hard money lenders are not interested in foreclosing on your property.
Right.
They want to
They
make
don't
their
wanna-
interest. They want to get paid back.
Mhm.
They don't want you to be in
They want
trouble.
passive
But
income.
it's a way to get into trouble because you're basically saying, hey, I solve a problem. I've dug a hole. Get me out of the hole. But have I done anything to like not get back in the hole?
it can be
Dug a
good
hole.
if you know that you have like I have a friend that's a public adjuster. So if he's overworking one of these hurricanes, signing up $5 million worth of business, he knows he's going to within the next 6 months to 2 years.
Yeah, sure.
So he could go out, get a hard money loan maybe because he knows he's got that money coming.
There was like maybe so that could be, it makes sense to do it that way. I think the situation is I'm having trouble getting approved for maybe what I'll call like the good loans.
Right.
And I need some other alternative. And maybe the only qualifying criteria for me that's important is that you'll approve me for the loan.
Right.
And so I had a buddy, a loan originator buddy, he told me, Henry Ford used to say, like, listen, you can have any color car you want as long as it's black. As long as it's black, right? So if that's your only option and you can get it approved, okay, right? So, but talk to somebody who knows the other options.
That is the key
That's
point
the thing,
there.
like,
Think of it as a loan, maybe a loan of last resort. You don't want to go to that specialist first.
Right.
You want to go to somebody who's got a good broad range of knowledge.
and it could be, especially if you're in trouble. I know there's like some people are behind on property taxes, like, and that maybe that goes into our property tax conversation. But one option is to talk to Jim and say, hey, listen, if you really want to tap into your equity and you don't want to get into a loan that's going to cause you problems a year from now or 2 years from now or 5 years from now, maybe selling your home before you get too deep and you've tapped into some of your equity via fees, right? Maybe selling your home is the option that helps solve your problem.
That was the other thing with Terry. It was just so scary when I was talking to you yesterday because he could have made really poor decisions about like what to do. The second thing he heard is that some investor pulls up in a Mercedes-Benz, very nicely dressed, says, I want to buy your house. And he wanted to give him X amount of dollars for it, which would have been a small six-figure profit for him. But the house is worth, let's just say it was $100,000 profit that the guy was offering. But if he had just put it on the market in like 7 days, he could have got another 100,000 on top of that very easily because of the price point he's at. And he told me that if I was having a really bad time at that moment,
right,
I might have got weak and just said yes and signed something with him. And I'm like, Terry, if you're that desperate that you need money, why would you walk away from an extra $100,000 just because this guy's standing in front of you? He goes, well, the guy looked really serious and looked like he'd really do it. And I go, yeah, he will, because he knows how much money he's making off of you.
Right.
Right.
I think
so. You need to talk to reputable people like Mike, like me, to try to figure out what's best for your situation, not what's best for the person that you're working with. That's the crazy part of this.
And I mean, Johnny can probably attest to this. Like sometimes I need to talk to somebody who knows, like who can I talk to that's trustworthy, that's not trying to sell me something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, we do this show. Yes, we're all in the business of real estate and we make money doing loans and closing real estate. But if you call Jim is not going to be like, oh, let's sell. That's the best option for you. No, Jim is going to give an honest assessment, what he thinks makes the most sense. And it's for your benefit, not for his benefit, even if it means no loan for Jim or no deal for Jim.
I just met with the lady Muriel a couple of days ago, and she's really jammed up on her home, made a poor purchase, needs to sell it because there's a divorce, very nasty. She had it on the market for over 400 days with the realtor, hasn't had the house sold yet. When I did the comparative market analysis, I'm like, you might get what you paid for it back when you bought it 3 years ago. And she's like, why can you afford to do that? No. And so I gave her other options other than selling the house that might work for her, at least temporarily.
Sure.
So you got to have people that are out there for your best interests, not the interests of what they want to do. If you go to a guy that has a hammer and you got a screw to screw in a piece of wood, and you go to a hammer guy, they're going to take a hammer and try to knock that screw into the wood with a hammer and not a screwdriver. And that's not what you need. You need the right person with the right tools.
It'll hold temporarily.
So let's
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. A one-stop shop. You get access to an entire team. These are pros, experts in their field, and like-minded. It is about what's best for you, and the options are always very important. You got to go to a team that's ready to take on what you're trying to accomplish and make sure that it's done right by you and your family. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Thank you, Johnny. I wanted to talk about appraisals since we got AJ ExperienceAppraisers.com here. I have an interesting one, AJ. I have a property that's probably going on the market next Thursday. It's 411 51st Street, just on the fringes of Northwood, kind of. It's
So what's it worth, AJ?
So,
2,500 under area, 1920s.
It's one street west of the Intercoastal, right? It stands in the shadows of really expensive condos overlooking the Intercoastal.
Is Rybovich still there?
Yep, it's all in that area.
Yep.
Okay, and this house though, I put a sign out, and somebody called me, and he started asking me questions about it, and I could smell that the person was an investor. And I said, this house is an historical designated 1921 historical designated house. You can't tear it down. And then he goes, because it's the millionaire neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And he goes, and he sounded really disappointed. I go, look, I'm not upset you're an investor or anything. And if you wanted to tear it down, it was allowed to be. We'd love to have your offer, but you can't tear it down. And he was like, and then he wasn't interested anymore.
Can you build a new home around it? Like just on top of it?
They did that with the Palm Beach County Courthouse a long time ago.
Here's a quote from the Historical Society, Historic Preservation Board for West Palm Beach. New additions must not overwhelm the original structure, massing, and should be set back at least 10 feet from the front. So no, you can't.
Can't do that.
And the owner of this property, she ended up putting an addition on it legally, and she put a legal addition. My question is this. The house is 1921. There's some flooring issues. It's a cute home. It's got a good layout, great backyard, great location. But the house needs some, TLC on it. Is there anything different that because it's you're what I mean by that, when you do a renovation, you have to jump through extra hoops than just going to the building department. You got to go to the Historical Society too. Does that affect anything? The historical designation affect it positive or negatively when you're appraising a home?
Well, it's not necessarily positive or negative, but it certainly affects it. So you've got two types of historic preservation homes, basically ones that are individual. So you've got some unique structure that has a certain look that they really like, or they'll do blanket for certain neighborhoods.
Okay.
And then you'll have homes individually that can be contributing or non-contributing structures. So like I appraised one last year, south of where you're talking about in West Palm, probably towards like South El Cid or something. But it was in a historical overlay where that particular neighborhood, and I looked up at the history of it and everything, it had been developed in the 1940s. And so what the Historic Preservation Society is interested in is primarily the facade,
right,
and certain time periods, certain examples of certain construction types and designs. So if you happen to have a 1950s ranch in the middle of that neighborhood of 1940s vernacular, whatever, Spanish style, 20s, whatever it is, then it may be a non-contributing structure. Now that can be knocked down. So to a builder, that's going to be an attractive for a teardown. But I've also seen one of the nicest homes that I ever appraised in that area of West Palm had just been done by a builder from California. And he had to leave the entire front facade, just the first, let's say, 2 foot of the front. And that's the main thing they're worried about. They want to make sure as somebody's driving through that neighborhood, they're seeing a consistency of design style. They're looking at the roof, the windows, the doors, these structural elements. Like, perfect example with these 1920s 2-story Spanish missions, you almost always see that Pecky cypress ceiling on the entry porch. So there's certain characteristics that make it important. from an appraiser standpoint, I'm going to want to use the same type of property.
Mhm.
So for that one that was a non-conforming located in an historic overlay, I didn't worry about the historic overlay because that particular house, it didn't matter. You could still do whatever you wanted to. It might be worth more because it can be torn down than the house next door that's historic. But it also might be worth less. It depends on, is that the instant millionaire neighborhood where everybody's tearing it down? Is the lot big enough? Is the front footage big enough? There's all those other things that come into play. Is it a home that just needs to be lived in until it's going to be torn down? Is it a home that can be renovated and kept historic? Or is it a home that should be, expanded on and developed into a different type of, substantive property, a 5,000 footer instead of a 2,000.
So what did you do as the agent? How are you pricing that home?
Well, this is kind of interesting on this house. This house was under contract in September, and it was under contract for $500,000, which is what we're putting it on the market for again. And they went through the inspection and everything, and then they found out that there was a title issue. The building department has a $670,000 lien against the property for work that wasn't done. For work that was done was never closed out, and that fine has been growing and growing and growing for more than a decade. Now, the owner bought the house, pulled permits to put an addition on, got all that approved. The addition was approved. Everything was done. And unbeknownst to the owner, the city was finding that house every single day for having open permits that were not closed out. And they were notifying the old owner that didn't own it anymore. And when the current owner bought the house and did the title work, nobody found out about this lien.
Ooh.
So it's been going on forever. And
So they bypassed the municipal lien search?
That's what that's like Title 101,
I know.
isn't it?
It wasn't. No, I don't think they bypassed it. I think the city didn't record it properly or something. I think that's what happened. There was no record of it at all, but they were still noticing the owner, the owner, and I'm putting that in quotes because it's the old owner. And the old owner probably was just throwing this stuff in the way. It's like, I don't own it anymore, and just throw it away. It's like, whatever. So this poor owner, Danny, she found out last September while she's trying to close, she can't sell the house because she got a $670,000 lien. Now, I don't want to make this sound like a horrible, horrible story because the city has been so far working with her very well. The building department says this is ridiculous. We're going to, we'll
sort it out.
We'll sort it out. Now, the funny part is they're making her change the landscaping in her front yard because there's not enough grass. And then once she does that, which has nothing to do with the permits that weren't opened up.
They could call Johnny.
But once they do that,
I got plenty.
Yeah,
plenty.
Then what will happen is after she already did that, the inspector's going to come out hopefully this week. Then she's got to go to the historical board, I think, or the code enforcement board, and basically say, hey, look, this isn't my fault. I need to sell my house. Can we take care of all this now? So we're going through that. So we're putting it back on the market at 500. Cute little home, great neighborhood, great walkable neighborhood, 2 awesome parks right by you. You can smell the seawater from the intercoastal.
You can smell the seawater? Is that going in the ad?
Yeah, no, yeah. So really
maybe just smell the sea.
Yeah,
Sounds
hey,
better.
I like
There you go. Yeah,
I
water.
like
I
it.
think it may be stagnant.
No, you don't like the
seawater.
seawater?
No, just smell the sea.
Ocean breezes and smell
Well, it
the
is an
salt.
ocean because it's intercoastal. So, but really great neighborhood. This is going to be one of the up and coming neighborhoods that's already started. And I just was wondering what's going to happen with the appraisal, like if the historic designation. So you kind of wrapped it up for me and let me know what's going on with that.
Yeah, they'll look for other ones that are historic.
Mhm.
It's like everything else in appraising. You try to find matches to
What
the same
happens
kind
if
of
you have to
property.
go pretty far out from there? Will you do that to find other
Oh, yeah.
historicals?
Well, yes and no. I mean, it needs to be a competitive submarket.
Mhm.
You can't go down to El Cid from there.
Right. That's why I was asking.
You know what
so
I
you couldn't
mean?
Go back
No.
or south.
Like I will do, like a good example is Boynton Beach along the west side of the intercoastal. You've got a ton of those little condo neighborhoods.
Mhm.
And, with banks, they like you to be within a mile. Well, I might look in a 3-mile stretch because it's still the same buyer. That's the real question. Is the buyer, the potential buyer of this home, would they look at that home also? And when you get into those locational differences in West Palm and Lake Worth East, there's a big difference, know? And so if you're not, you know the market, if you wouldn't show that same buyer both of the homes, then it's not a good comp.
Yeah, it's like if you were in downtown Lake Worth, look at the older homes. Being on Palmway is different than being on H Street.
Oh, yeah. I just had that. I just did one off like H, and I had to pull, it had an in-ground pool. So I had to pull comps that I normally wouldn't because there's not many in-ground pools in East Lake Worth.
Yep. Hey, I did do the stats on the market stats from June 2024, the 2024 year. So when we were at the interest rates we are right now, the peak of our highest sales price ever, or median sales price ever, was June of that year, and it was 659,999, right? And but that year of 2024, our low was 585, and our high was the 659, 6599, and it ended up at the end of the year at 620. Yeah. So that June 660 went down to 620 at the end of the year of 2024.
And that's median.
Yeah, median sales price. So when the interest rates were around 5.9s, we were somewhere between 580 and 660 is where
we were at like the end of the COVID rush.
Yeah, and now,
and then it turned off like a faucet.
And now we're we're at 700 for median sales price with the same interest rate. However, over the last year, that 700 is really, over the last 12 months, that 700 is really out of whack with the rest of the numbers. Like January a year ago, January 2025, we're at 650, which was at the higher level of median sales price, and we just blew through it, and it's because of all those expensive homes that are being closed on.
But when you look at these medians, like, it's such a big statistic. To me, I would rather see what did 1995 built plus or minus 5 years in the acreage, plus or minus 2,500 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-car garage with no pool. What did that sell for a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago? Because when you're just looking at the medians, look at all the new construction.
Yeah.
And it's skewing the numbers.
Yeah.
It's not a realistic it's okay to track and it's good for some things, but I don't know how much it practically shows what a used home in the area's value is doing.
I know we only have like a minute left or a minute and a half left or something. I just wanted to throw out something related to that. New construction is the bane of the existence of regular resale sellers right now.
Oh yeah.
The new construction is just creaming all the regular resellers. If you've got new construction communities around you and you're trying to sell your home, you're not beating them out. And Westlake, I was looking in Westlake just recently for customers. You can get the brand new 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1 or 2 car garage for as low as like 510,000, 515,000, brand new everything with low HOA, brand new, never lived in. That's very hard to find in the acreage, for example. Now I know the acreage, you have the acre and everything, but if you're like in that price point, I'm showing people in the low 5s, the acreage, in a lot of the houses, the deferred maintenance, you got roofs that are ancient and kitchens that need to be done and this broken and that broken for 500, or you could move to like a brand new community and get a brand new home. Don't have to worry about anything, but you have to give up certain lifestyle things if you do that. But it is really sucking out of the resellers, I'm
getting ready to do an Avenir appraisal for somebody who's getting ready to sell. So I'll have some real good data on that within a week because they're still selling new construction out of there. And he's got a 2024.
It means a resale in a new construction.
In the new construction. I've done that a bunch of times.
New construction, right? This whole
he's not a 20-year-old deferred maintenance. Yeah.
You got to find somebody that needs to move right now.
Yeah.
That's what usually wins.
So that music is always a strong indication that we're officially done with our 2 hours of infotainment, but you always have access to this entire team. Pros. They're experts in their field, and you can get them all one click away. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. If you're on Facebook and YouTube, please share and like. Give a follow. It means the world, and you can absolutely change lives. You don't know what's going on with the people that you know. You don't know if they're looking to buy a home. You don't know if they're struggling right now. They might need some assistance. By hitting the share button, you can put them on some of the best of the best. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Write that down. Know it, use it, love it, share it. Your life can be changed dramatically as well. Use the pros. At least vet them. Let it be a part of the process. And if you choose to go elsewhere, well, that's your decision. And bad choices are made on the regular. You can make good ones. Go to FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. I would encourage you to do just that. Jimothy, thanks for everything always.
Thank you, Jonathan, AJ, Mike, Jim. Have a great weekend, guys.
AJ Holman, experienceappraisers.com. I hope you have an excellent weekend.
Thank you very much for having me.
There's Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Please have an excellent weekend as well.
I will try. Thank you, everybody.
And Jimmy D, it's Jim DiPaola with the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. Have an awesome weekend, my friend.
I've never heard anybody call you Jonathan before.
Probably won't be the last.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us. We're going to squeeze out a sports show. Me and G, we will be lining up here in just a minute. Always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com and join us next Saturday for 2 more hours of infotainment right here on Real Radio.